welcome to the Rum Revival. My name is Arminder and today we're drinking Rolling Fork's the Amburana Odyssey. So I've already briefly talked about this rum in two separate videos. Once in my last new releases video and the second time in my rums to sip during the fall video. But I like this rum so much that I wanted to dedicate a full video to it. So a couple of questions. First up, what exactly is Rolling Fork Spirits? Well, they're an independent bottler out of Indiana. And what they do is source rums from around the world, and instead of bottling them and selling them, they first do some additional aging or finishing of those rums in different types of casks. They've previously released rums from places like Barbados and Jamaica and finished them in a variety of ex-bourbon cask types from brands like Wild Turkey, Woodford, Heaven Hill, Weller. They've even used port casks, rye casks, heavily charred, lightly charred casks, highly toasted casks. You name it, and they probably have a couple barrels of it. Now, this release is the newest in their small batch series, which the first was a El Salvador rum that was aged in a mix of Oloroso sherry, port wine, rye whiskey, and Kentucky bourbon barrels. And then the next question to ask is, with a name like Amburana Odyssey, just what is Amburana? Well, it's a hardwood found throughout parts of South America. And up until a couple of years ago, when it came to spirits, it was primarily known for aging cachaças, which is a cane juice spirit native to Brazil. Now, rum folks might be familiar with brands like Novo Fogo or Avua when it comes to cachaças, and both of these brands have cachaças aged in Amburana, which are these two right here. And Amburana can impart these notes of warm, savory, woody cinnamon to a spirit, and both of these definitely have that going on in their flavor profile. Now, over the last 3 or so years, aging in Amburana has become a bit of a trendy thing in the whiskey world. We're seeing lots of different distilleries and brands release Amburana finished whiskeys, and those bourbons and whiskeys can lean pretty heavy in that cinnamon flavor profile that the wood imparts. And the other thing worth mentioning regarding Amburana is the fact that it's actually considered endangered due to deforestation. Now, both Avua and Novo Fogo talk a lot on their website about sustainability when it comes to Amburana and other Brazilian woods. They mention growing their own Amburana, replanting efforts, sourcing the wood from sustainable stock, and using reputable coopers. Now, when it comes to the whiskey world, I haven't really come across a whole lot of in-depth statements from brands regarding Amburana's endangered status and their use of it. Most often you'll just see the mention of, hey, this was aged in sustainable Amburana casks, and that's kind of it. In Rolling Fork's marketing copy around this rum, they state that the Amburana was responsibly harvested, which is great, but I definitely would be interested in getting more information and insight into exactly how Amburana is sourced both in the whiskey and rum world, especially for those brands outside of Brazil. Now we know what Rolling Fork is all about and exactly what Amburana is, so let's talk about the liquid inside this bottle. Now, the rum in this release is a pot and calm still blend from Foursquare Rum Distillery in Barbados, and it's actually a blend of 4 different casks. 2 of the casks started as 9-year-old Foursquare rum aged in ex-bourbon casks, and the other 2 casks started as 11-year-old Foursquare rums also aged in ex-bourbon. So the rum in all 4 of those casks were then transferred into Amburana oak casks that previously held bourbon, and then they were aged another 6 months. Now, after those 6 months, the 9-year-old rum was transferred into low-char, heavy toast bourbon casks, and the 11-year-old rum was transferred into low-char, heavy toast rye casks. Eventually, those barrels were then blended together, with 55% of the blend being the 11-year-old rum and the remaining 45% being the 9-year-old rum. And then this blend is bottled at 60.3% ABV. All right, so now that we've got all of that out of the way, let's actually give this a taste. So the initial smell evokes something that I haven't smelled or used in decades, but I remember using a lot of it growing up, and that was like cocoa butter lotion or like shea butter lotion. I don't know if you all are familiar with that or if a lot of people use it or not, but in our household, my mom used to buy it all the time, and I had really dry skin, so I always smelled like that because I always put it on. And this totally smells like that. Yeah, cocoa butter lotion, shea butter. I don't know if those are the same thing or if there's 2 separate things, or if cocoa butter is something you cook with and not put on your skin. Maybe it's shea butter. I don't remember. But either one or both of those things is what this reminds me of. Oof, awesome. Amateur hour here, folks. Once I kind of get used to that cocoa butter on the nose, then I'm picking up wood, but not just any kind of wood. I get like chestnut or cedar, and I say that as if I'm some sort of like wood expert. I'm not, but that's kind of what it kind of evokes in my mind. What's the name for someone who's a wood expert? an arborist, a carpenter. I don't know. I'm neither one of those things. Now, the heart of the matter here on the Aroma, besides the cocoa butter and the chestnut or cedar, is this note of cinnamon. Now, the thing is, it's not a sharp cinnamon. It's more of a fatty cinnamon, which is, I know maybe something that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but think cinnamon and like cream, cinnamon and butter, like maybe like cinnamon frosting is maybe the best way to describe it. All right, well, cheers. Oh yeah. Luckily, this doesn't taste like lotion, which is good. Now, the main thing, which I've already described when it comes to the cachaças and the bourbons and whiskeys, is that cinnamon note, and it's totally there. It's not shy. It's not just all cinnamon. There's some nuance here. It's like a big note of brown sugar, and it's cinnamon, but it's not just like cinnamon sticks. It's cinnamon cake and some cinnamon frosting. And this might be a description that might be overused when it comes to Amburana, but honestly, it tastes like a cinnamon roll, like a Cinnabon. So tasty. Now, if you can get past the cinnamon, the kind of vanilla brown sugar, and kind of the cake or dessert of it, underneath it, maybe towards the back or the finish, there's a little bit of like subtle citrus there, which is nice. It's just a little accent, but it's there. And then the finish, to me, I get like cola, but specifically like a reduced down cola syrup finish. Other people have kind of described it as like a Dr. Pepper. And to be honest, I think I may have had like one sip of Dr. Pepper my entire life. So I can't really maybe use that as a tasting note. Though I say that, but I've used like weird woods that I've never eaten, and weird lotions that I've never eaten, and other weird things that I reference when it comes to the palate of certain rums. So sure, you know what, let's go with that as well. So how I've described it so far would imply that this is incredibly lush and sweet, but it's not really. I mean, initially you're getting all of this kind of maybe implied sweetness, but it's kind of crazy how it really kind of dries out on the back end and on the finish. It's not like this cloying, sweet, like cinnamon bomb. It's dry enough that you want to go back for another sip immediately. And maybe the craziest thing about all this is that this does not taste like a 60% ABV rum at all. It definitely is tasting like something that's late 40s, high 40s, or 50 plus, but it never feels like it's even close to 60% ABV. Amazing. Now, in my fall video, I highly recommended this as like a perfect rum for the fall, and it absolutely is. This is something that's perfect for cold weather, cozy weather. But honestly, I want to drink this all the time, every day of the year. That's how much I, at least right now, am enamored with it and how tasty it is. Truth be told, if that's all I ever drank, I'd probably get tired of it. But man, oh man, this is like a special treat to pull out, once a week. I mean, like right now I want to drink it once a week. And given how much I like this, I'm interested in trying many more rums finished in Amburana. Now, I do think though that a heavy amount of aging in Amburana might be a bit too much. This one feels like just right, but I could easily see it kind of maybe getting out of hand. So I guess we'll kind of see what other rum brands and distilleries do with it. Now, if I've piqued your interest, you can get your hands on this bottle, supposedly from like brick and mortar retailers, but I haven't really seen it around a lot, but you can definitely get it through Sealbox right now. They're an online retailer, and I'll include a link to their page that has the rum, and they ship to a lot of states in the country. So this release, as I mentioned, was part of their small batch series, but I didn't actually mention how many bottles were actually produced, and it was actually 840 bottles, which might seem like a lot, but it's actually not a lot, and this has been out for a month and a half already. So if you are interested, if some of the tasting notes and my enthusiasm, I hope, has piqued your interest, you kind of need to jump on it now. So definitely, the link I'm including isn't like an affiliate link or anything like that. I just want people to get their hands on this rum. So check it out at Sealbox, or maybe you can find it with other retailers. So there you go. That's my video on the Amburana Odyssey from Rolling Fork Spirits. As you can tell, I really, really like this rum a lot. Super tasty. What I'd like to know is, have you had this? What do you think? Do you think it's too cinnamony? Is it perfect? Does it taste like a cinnamon roll to you? And also, do you know of other rums that have been finished in Amburana If so, let me know in the comments below because I'd love to get my hands on them and try them and compare them against this. Thanks so much for watching. Catch you next time. Cheers.